The South Shore Line is an electrically powered interurban commuter rail line operated by the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, between Millennium Station in downtown Chicago and the South Bend International Airport in South Bend, Indiana. The name refers to both the physical line and the service operated over that route. The line was built in 1901–08 by predecessors of the Chicago South Shore and South Bend Railroad, which continues to operate freight service. Passenger operation was assumed by the NICTD in 1989. Service. The public Monday to Friday timetable shows 20 eastbound trains operating. 18 of those operate out of Millennium Station. Of those, 5 terminate at Gary Metro Center, 7 at South Bend Airport, and 10 at Carroll Avenue. 2 daily trains start at Carroll Avenue and continue to South Bend Airport. History. Private operation. The South Shore Line was constructed between 1901–08 by the Chicago and Indiana Airline Railway. Revenue service between Michigan City and South Bend began on July 1, 1908. The Lake Shore leased the Kensington and Eastern Railroad on April 4, 1909, giving it access to Chicago. That year, the full line to Kensington on the Illinois Central was completed, and beginning on June 2, 1912, the electric cars were coupled to IC steam locomotives and run to downtown Chicago. The lake entered bankruptcy in 1925 and was bought by Samuel Insull's Chicago South Shore and South Bend Railroad. The line continued to handle both freight and passengers. Under Insull, the company embarked on a major rehabilitation program. This included new ballast and ties, 100-pound rail in place of 70-pound rail, brush clearance, and an overhaul of the line's block signals. In 1946, the company acquired 3 Little Joe electric locomotives for freight service. These locomotives had originally been constructed for the Soviet Union, but changing attitudes due to the Cold War prevented them from being delivered. These locomotives continued in freight service on the South Shore until 1983, making them the last electric locomotives in regular freight service in the United States. Number 803, is preserved in running condition at the Illinois Railway Museum. The power system was changed from 6,600 volts AC to 1,500 volts DC on July 28, 1926, allowing trains to operate directly to the Illinois Central's Randolph Street terminal without an engine change. Trains began running to Chicago in August 29. That same year, the original line between East Chicago and Indiana Harbor was abandoned. The CSS NAMP-SB turned a profit during World War II due to the industrial nature of northern Indiana. However, highway competition and suburban growth led to ridership declines. By the 1950s, all interurban lines were seeing a decline in rail travel as automobile use increased. On September 16, 1956, a street-running section in East Chicago was removed with the building of a new alignment alongside the Indiana Toll Road. A truncation to west of downtown South Bend removed street trackage in the city from July 1, 1970. The Chesapeake and Ohio Railway acquired the CSS NAMP-SB on January 3, 1967 and continued the operation of passenger services. The CSS NAMP-SB was one of 6 railroads with long-distance passenger services to decline, joining Amtrak in 1971 and in 1976. They asked the Interstate Commerce Commission to abandon passenger service. The ICC gave the state of Indiana a chance to reply, and subsequently, the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District was formed in 1977 to fund the service. When the railway went bankrupt, passenger service was taken over by the NICTD in December 1989. In December 1990, the track was sold to the NICTD and freight service was taken over by the new Chicago South Shore and South Bend Railroad, a subsidiary of shortline operator Anacostia and Pacific. Public operation on November 21, 1992, the line's South Bend terminus moved from the Amtrak station to the airport. On July 5, 1994, NICTD closed the Ambridge, Camille Road, Willard Avenue, La Lumiere, Rolling Prairie, and New Carlisle flag stops. A seventh station, Dune Acres, closed around the same time once parking was expanded at nearby Dune Park. The railroad began a 3-year project in 2009 to replace all catenary on its line between Michigan City and Gary, some of which was nearly 90 years old. The project cost $18 million and caused service disruptions on weekends while new wires were strung. The 2009 and 2010 weekend outages truncated trains at Gary Metro Center. During the August-November 2010 disruptions, Amtrak's Wolverine provided service to the Amtrak Michigan City station. In 2015, NICTD began an express service between South Bend and Chicago, targeted at business travelers. The train will make just 2 intermediate stops, Dune Park in East Chicago. The total scheduled travel time is 1 hour 55 minutes, more than 30 minutes faster than existing services. Route: departing South Bend Airport. The South Shore Line makes the loop around a section of South Bend, before connecting with the tracks that ran to its former terminus. Between the Point and Hudson Lake, Indiana, the South Shore Line runs parallel to Norfolk Southern's Chicago Line, also used by Amtrak's Lake Shore Limited and Capital Limited on the north side of the tracks. From Hudson Lake, the South Shore continues straight west to Michigan City. In Michigan City, the track runs down the middle of 11th Street, crosses the line used by Amtrak's Michigan services, and then runs down the middle of 10th Street. West of Michigan City, the track travels through Indiana Dunes State Park, crosses over the Chicago line and runs parallel to it, this time on the south side, past Long Lake. At Gary, Indiana, the route heads west of service the Gary Airport, at times running parallel to the Indiana Toll Road, to Hammond, Indiana. Just west of the Hammond station, the route crosses into Illinois, at which point the track curves northwest, through the Hagerwish neighborhood and, after crossing the Bishop Ford Freeway and the Calumet River, converges with the Metro Electric line south of Kensington 115th Street Station. The South Shore Line then shares Metro Electric tracks from Kensington 115th Street the rest of the way to Millennium Station. The line is double-tracked from Kensington 115th Street to just east of Gary Metro Center. For there it is single-tracked with passing sidings all the way to South Bend Airport, except for a 6.5-mile stretch of double-track around Ogden Dunes and the Yard at Michigan City. As of 2016, the NICTD is studying double-tracking an additional 25 miles between Gary and Michigan City at an estimated cost of $210 million. Rolling stock. Current: the South Shore Line operates with a fleet of 82 rail cars built between 1982 to 2009 by Nippon Sharyo. The fleet consists of 58 single-level self-propelled cars, 10 single-level unpowered trailers, and 14 bi-level self-propelled cars. The single-level fleet's design is shared with Mark's locomotive Hall Mark II fleet. Retired Pullman Standard and the Standard Steel Car Company delivered electric multiple units to the Chicago, South Shore and South Bend Railroad between 1926 to 1929. Many were lengthened in the 1930s and 1940s. Fare policies. The South Shore Line uses its own based fare system, with prices based on the distance traveled and station's proximity to Millennium Station. There are a total of 11 zones. Tickets may be purchased at stations, aboard the train, or online. Ticket options include one-way, 10-ride, 25-ride, and monthly passes. NICTD assesses a $1 surcharge for passengers who buy ticket on the train after boarding at stations where the agent is on duty. Children 13 years of age or younger, seniors 65 or older, passengers with disabilities, and active duty military personnel are eligible for reduced fares. NICTD accepts cash aboard trains, cash and checks at ticket offices, and credit cards online. Some stations have ticket vending machines which accept credit cards. For Hagerwish Station, fares are set by Metra. Proposed expansions. Michigan City realignment. Since 2005, there has been an ongoing debate pertaining to plans to relocate trackage off the streets of Michigan City. In July 2009, NICTD announced its intention to relocate the Michigan City track south of its current location in order to smooth out the curves, cut down the number of grade crossings, increase speed and reduce maintenance costs. The plan also calls for the replacement of both current stations with a single new station. It would be located a block west of the current 11th Street boarding location, between Franklin and Washington Streets, with a modern, high-level platform and a large parking lot. The plan would require a demolition of residential and retail buildings currently located on the south side of 11th Street. The relocation effort faced a setback on March 2010 when NICTD announced that it did not have the funds necessarily to complete the preliminary engineering study. Unless the funding was found, the relocation would have been postponed indefinitely, since, without the engineering study, NICTD would not be able to get state and federal funds necessarily to complete the relocation. NICTD and the city continued to work on obtaining the funds needed. In 2011, NICTD accepted bids for a $1 million study, expected to take 18 months. The study was completed in October 2013. The preferred alternative identified by the study preserves an alignment similar to the current route but relocates the tracks alongside the street. It proposes replacing the two existing stations with a new station near the center of Michigan City, Westlake Corridor. At a legislative hearing in October 2008, NICTD officials said they would drop further study of a Munster to Valparaiso route, known as the Westlake Corridor, and begin study of a Gary-Valparaiso route. At the hearing, NICTD officials said the projected cost of $673 million for the Munster to Valparaiso route, as well as low projected ridership, would have made it ineligible for federal funding. The Gary to Valparaiso route would utilize the partially abandoned former Pennsylvania Railroad rights-of-way. NICTD officials contend the shorter length of the Gary to Valparaiso run, as well as the chance to use existing tracks there, may make it a lower-cost alternative to the Munster to Valparaiso route. NICTD plan to apply for federal funding for a preliminary engineering study and invite environmental survey of the Hammond-Lowell leg in 2009, building that leg had a 2008 projected price tag of $551 million. Station listing. The line operates over the tracks of the Metro Electric line from Millennium Station to Kensington 115th Street. Metro owns the track in this territory. As part of a non-compete clause with Metro, outbound South Shore Line trains to Indiana are boarding only at Metro Electric stations. Inbound trains to Millennium Station are discharge only. South Shore Line trains make the following station stops: